Hey everybody, it's Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council's One Mic Stand, also with Tech Vibe Radio, and I'm really pumped about today's conversation. We're talking to Luke Skurman. This guy is like a serial entrepreneur. He's really been, the guy on Pittsburgh's tech sector for quite a while. He's built quite a few cool companies. In the middle of building a new one, and while doing this, of course, pandemic and all that kind of fun stuff going on. But to make matters even cooler, during this, now it's a very large $35 million Series C raise, which was just fantastic. We need more of those raises in Pittsburgh, and Luke was the guy to make that happen with Niche. And I'm just excited to explore what Niche is all about, a little bit about Luke's history, of course, and then really the idea of like, how do you grow and scale a company like this in these kind of uncertain economic times? And I know if anyone can figure it out, it's going to be Luke, that's for sure. So Luke, thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to talk to us here on the One Mic Stand. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks, Jonathan. It's great to be here.
So Luke, you've been in Pittsburgh pretty much most of your life, right? Or at least all of your professional life. Is that correct?
My professional life, yeah. I was born in Manhattan. I grew up in San Francisco, went to Carnegie Mellon, and I've been here ever since freshman year in 1998.
Okay, that's what's cool. See, this is why I love Carnegie Mellon so much, because they find men and women like you, and sometimes they make them stay here and build cool stuff, right? So why did you never leave Pittsburgh? What kept you in Pittsburgh? Because obviously with your background and your smarts and your know-how, you can do whatever you want, wherever you want, right?
And the biggest thing is just I felt included here. I felt wanted. I felt people supported. I felt people really wanted me to succeed. And, if I went to New York or if I went to California, yeah, there's a lot of great entrepreneurship and things going on there. But this felt like a place where they really wanted to lift people up and make people successful. And to feel wanted always felt great. And, that was always big, and the root of it is the people. The people in Pittsburgh are honest, they're sincere, they're hardworking, and I've always really connected with them in a big way.
I'm glad to hear that. That's what I want to hear, and I want to hear more of that. So hopefully Pittsburgh is starting to do some of those right things to keep people here and make them feel welcome and included and everything like that. So give us a background real fast. I think one of your first companies, if it was not the first, was College Prowler. Am I correct?
Yeah, and so just to clarify, some of the early work in College Prowler has actually led to the work that we're doing today with Niche, and so College Prowler went on its own journey from book publishing to a paid subscription model to being free, and then that led us to really building Niche, where we wanted to do more than just coverage on just colleges. So now we have coverage on colleges. So those are community colleges, those are trade schools, those are online colleges, those are grad schools, but we also now have coverage on 120,000 K through 12 schools, kindergartens, middle schools, high schools, private schools, charter schools, religious schools. We've got every neighborhood and suburb in the country as well.
I think you got it covered, man. That's a lot.
We're trying. These are big decisions, and people need help. Yeah.
Now, I noticed on Niche's site, there's a lot with neighborhoods as well, too, right?
Yeah. So what we found is that when you're thinking about making a school choice, you're often thinking about a real estate choice, usually at the same time. That the price of a home is often correlated to the quality of the school district. If you're thinking about your son or daughter's education, oftentimes you're also thinking about where you're living, and those decisions are very interconnected, and we wanted to cover both of those decisions for sure.
Gotcha. Very cool. So I just love the idea that obviously this roots of Niche goes right back to the College Prowler days.
Oh, absolutely.
Back when you started that was a very unique thing. No one had ever done that. You were definitely a first mover in that market space, but that vibe continues, and you see value of expanding that with new technologies and stuff that we have going on today. So when was the official start of saying, I'm starting Niche, and this is going to roll out, we're going to start building and scaling this thing?
Niche really itself, the idea, the concept was 2013.
Okay. Very cool. And from there to how big is the company now?
So today we're 125 full-time employees, and we're growing fast. We're continuing to hire, and we're doing well. Yeah, we're the largest site in the United States for choosing schools in the country.
Very cool. And so what I think is so cool about the, like you said before, this goes back to, these are very important decisions that people are making. They're deciding where they're going to live based on where they're going to send their kids to school. So like they need to know what's up, and you're becoming like that clearinghouse for that to happen. So tell us how that
Yeah,
works.
I mean,
And yeah, like
so again, if I came from San Francisco and I went to Carnegie Mellon, that decision changed my life. I spent 4 years of my life there. I made my friends. It led to career.
yeah,
Choosing that college was an important moment. And now choosing that right, elementary school for my son,
hmm,
that's a decision that's going to impact our family for probably 10 years. But we really believe that um, education choices are some of the most important, most life-defining, most expensive decisions that you'll make. There's 70 million students in schools across the country. It costs more than $1 trillion a year to educate our Americans. It's one of the largest industries in the country. And
right.
the education sector as a whole has kind of underinvested in digital. They've still used a lot of traditional marketing, whether it's direct mail or radio or TV.
I
And you've
like
seen
a
other
fire coming right to my house.
and you've seen some of these other industries, whether it's travel like a TripAdvisor or Yelp with small business. There's other industries have transformed, and education, it's under a big change right now, and we want to help accelerate what was already happening in a bigger way. And you're going to see that even more fully in this pandemic that we're going through right now, where you
Good point.
can't visit schools in the same way. And there are
Wow.
already a lot of families that you're seeing the SAT and the ACT, being canceled till the fall. There's a lot of ways that people are changing the way that they're thinking about school selection process, and we're at the center of all that right now.
I never thought about that. Yeah, with the pandemic, how that's changing everything in this regards, and how niche fills that niche. It's a large niche. It's not quite a niche. It's like a gigantic gap as far as it is. So wow, that's gotta be. So I'm assuming obviously, your investors are very excited about this. I mean, which is why, like, I think you had one of the largest raises in Pittsburgh in the past few years at 35 million bucks. Which I love it when companies do that, because it goes to show the rest of the world that yes, there are Luke Skurmans of the world here in Pittsburgh building really transformative companies, and that you can invest here. So obviously, I mean, they're looking to help you scale and grow. How's this money moving you guys forward to meet this really unique opportunity in the market space right now?
Sure. I mean, just in the US alone, we believe that there's 40,000 schools that we can partner with. And today we have 1,500 school clients in the US. So we're feeling we're still really early days.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of headroom. There's a lot of upward mobility, but we're raising this money to really seize this opportunity, to be aggressive, to go after this, to be bold right now. But we're scaling up engineering, we're scaling up our product, we're scaling B2B marketing, we're scaling up sales. There's this big opportunity, and it's just time to go right now. The
Gotcha.
metrics are good, the market size is real, and we're very excited to be that company that really is helping schools in a meaningful way and helping students and parents in a really significant way make these really complex decisions.
Using you leading edge Pittsburgh built technology to do that, nonetheless, just makes it extra cool as far as that is. And so you're hiring, which I think is fantastic. And it's weird in Pittsburgh right now, there's lots of people that don't have jobs, but there's companies like yours that are hiring like nuts. What are some of the key positions? Obviously software engineers you're talking about. What else are you guys hiring for these days?
Product management, there's a lot on B2B marketing. We have a director of growth marketing, director of account management, director of product marketing. Um, there's a lot on engineering. Yeah, I would say that there's definitely, if you go to hiring.niche.com, you can
Yeah,
see all the jobs posted there. I think there's over 20 jobs posted right now.
that's what I'm saying. That's just so amazing. That's so amazing. So what's been the craziest thing about, obviously, pandemic hits, big large round of funding comes in, it's like the pressure's on, Luke, you guys start building and scaling, and yet we're using new technologies to stay connected even though we're not in the office. I'm sure this has probably been one of the more trying times in your career history, building and growing companies.
One of the things that we always pride ourselves on is you have to be adaptable to change, and change is inevitable, and you can never stop change. And we've seen so much, whether it's the College Prowler days to rebranding from College Prowler to Niche, or it's, there's so much. I could go through all the iterations of the business. And
Absolutely.
what we're seeing right now, and kind of being a distributed workforce today, where we're completely remote, I think this is week 12. I can't even keep
I know we've
track
all
of the
lost
weeks
count.
anymore.
It's long.
um,
All of our
and,
office
and we
plants are dead right now. Let's just face it, right?
and we have absolutely nailed that on the fly. I think we're working incredibly effectively. There's always ways to improve and get better, but we were a company that really showed up to the office every day in the Strip District. That's who we were. And we're rethinking that very quickly, but we're still having huge impact. We're still moving really fast. We're still selling well. We're still shipping out features for our users, for the schools. I would say that's the biggest change right now is being completely virtual right now, completely distributed.
Very cool. I see that. I'm hearing that from so many tech companies where they're like, you know what? We're not missing a beat. They already have themselves distributed. They know how to work that way. I mean, so do you see yourself as you return back, like being more distributed still, like not necessarily having a full office staff all the time, or just being able to keep people where they want to be?
I mean, we are a Pittsburgh company and we're going to have a Pittsburgh office.
Yeah.
I think the key is we trust our employees. We want to empower them. We want to provide them that flexibility. Is some people after this whole process said, you know what, whether it's post-vaccine, whether it's whatever, if they say, you know what, I'm just happier and more productive working from home, great. We're going to support that.
Yeah.
If they say, you know what, I'm in this weird environment with these roommates and I can't take it anymore and I want to come back into an office, we want to support that as well.
Exactly right.
So I think we want to support wherever our employees are going to be happy, wherever they're going to be productive, wherever they want to work is what we want to do. I think though that if I had to give a sense, my prediction is that a lot of employees are going to continue working more in a distributed manner, and maybe the Pittsburgh employees will come in 1-2 days a week is my sense.
Right.
That's how I see this playing out, but it really remains to be seen.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. I mean, it's changing the way we're perceiving and preparing for everything at this point the best we can. So I'm wondering if we could just switch gears just a little bit and just go your thoughts on, obviously you've got such a positive vibe about Pittsburgh as a place to build companies, and you've been really, you've done a lot to help in the entrepreneurial sector. I mean, going back to your days of doing things like with the Ballers Barbecue and things like that, it's always been in your blood to kind of promote entrepreneurship in Pittsburgh. What can we be doing more in Pittsburgh to get more folks starting companies and taking those risks and just going for it?
I think, first of all, I want to applaud how much has been done in the region over the last 5-10 years. It's really come a long ways. There's a lot more recent graduates that want to stay in Pittsburgh now. There are a lot more, there's a lot more early stage capital. It is a good time to be in Pittsburgh. I think the corporate community wants to help more. I think there's more people that want to stay here. I think there's more people that want to start businesses. So I think that's all positive.
Okay, good.
If I was to say, how do we really build the ecosystem here?
We need your advice, man.
Okay. I think where we need more of is that check between kind of $500,000 and $2 million. I think that we're starting to get good kind of for the first $200,000, 25, 50K to 200K. I think people can kind of get off the ground now, and then they're getting some initial traction. And maybe it's not ready for the full Series A, but they're ready to kind of dive a little deeper. And I think there's some capital here, but that capital, that 500K to 2 million, it's hard for that capital to really come here if it's not based here.
Right.
And I think we're still a little light there. And I think that's where the engine needs to get fortified right now.
I hear a lot of that. And I guess my last question around the whole entrepreneur ecosystem about getting more experienced talent here, like the folks that can really help a company scale. I don't want to necessarily say be adult, but the idea of someone that's been there, done that a few times, like how do we get more Luke Skurmans there in Pittsburgh that have been through this process of growing and scaling a company?
What I think is potentially one of the most exciting things about this pandemic is that a company like ours, let's say that's doing well, it's 125 employees, it's going to 150. If we can tap some people here in Pittsburgh and add some people that are outside of Pittsburgh,
like it.
It's going to be a good combination. I mean, in all candor, it's not easy to get people to fully relocate to Pittsburgh. It's not.
No.
Is it easy to get someone from New York to spend 2 to 3 weeks a month here? Yes. Is it easy um, to get someone to be in a more distributed environment? Yes. I think this is going to set a new way of thinking, and we're going to be able to access some really more experienced talent into Pittsburgh companies, which is great.
I like it. You're making me feel good about the future here. I like this. I like the way you're going
Yeah.
on this. And like I said, I'm just so excited for what Niche is doing here in Pittsburgh. Congrats on the big raise and the fact that you guys, it's one of these companies that really, I think, puts Pittsburgh deeper on the map of what is innovative, what is cool, and what's really, I mean, not just solving a problem, but solving a really tough problem that impacts people's lives all the way around. So thanks for taking the time to talk to us today.
No, thank you. I remember one of my first interviews I ever did, I think was with you at TEQ, and you wrote up this cool write up. I know we've been crossing paths now. It's for a long time, and I really appreciate your support. It's fun to help Pittsburgh get on the map more and just keep pushing forward. There's so much good work to do.
Yeah, you've definitely been a huge part in that, and I'm so glad to do this interview today. And we'll leave it at that. Luke, you're the best.
Thank you.
Right, man,
Great to see you.